Welcome to Nerdaties. Bitches.
No topic too absurd, no statement too asinine, no question too interesting. That's right, folks. Another Nerdities interview show. I continue to be Mike, joined as ever by
Justin.
as well as our
And I'm still Joe.
continue to ever be Joe. Our guest tonight, the creator of So-Called Living, and apparently a lot of other stuff too.
I'm Mark Maia.
Thank you for your time, Mark.
Thank you very much.
So-Called Living breakdown I saw involved vampires, werewolves, zombies, all that stuff. But please tell us more.
Yeah, so I'll give you the sales pitch. All right, so So-Called Living takes place in a world where the extraordinary is ordinary. All the monsters you know, vampires, werewolves, zombies, they all exist in this one world with us, and they coexist with us normies. But it's not an apocalyptic world. It's a world just like ours. So you could be sitting you can sit on a bus next to a werewolf and across from a vampire, and you're whatever. You're just a normie. But everybody is aware of that. It's not like there's a group of people living in the shadows because they're vampires. They could be your barista. It doesn't matter. It's basically our world, and monsters have grown up with it. And the story revolves around a guy named Jack who gets turned into a vampire and has to learn to adapt to this new way of living. And unbeknownst to Jack, he gets the notice of mobsters. First thing he does is before he knows about the mobsters, he reaches out to his buddies for help. And his buddies are morons. So this is a dark comedy. So his buddies are morons, and they're pretty much the laugh track. And then the mob, who they're very serious people, they're very nasty people. They find out that there's a new baby vampire in town, and they're very interested, and not in a good way. So they start looking for him, and Jack, although he's dealing with these new situations with his life, which are like, first problem he comes across is like he can't get into his apartment because there's nobody to invite him in. He's just got to learn to adapt to all these new rules. It's not like he doesn't know them. It's not like they're not known by everybody. Actually, in issue 2, he's getting mocked by like little girls that would be like, "You shouldn't be out in the daytime." He's like, "I know." it's just all happened to him at once, and he's kind of thrown into it with like nobody guiding the way. It was just very much trial by fire, and he's doing his best. So and he has no idea that the mob's after him. So I've been comparing it to, imagine the cast of Friends if they were being hunted down by the cast of Sopranos. So and that's how they are, and they live in those worlds. So like Jack and his buddies, they're more like the comedy, and then you get the mob guys, and they're the serious tension. And then the vampires in the world are also very different. That's who turned into a vampire, probably because of other vampires. So unless you're like Morbius, and some other reasons, but they're like, imagine Sons of Anarchy if they were vampires. So they're not like a Twilight or Dracula.
Okay, it's a bit dark. There's like a uniformity to it, like a structure to that world. Like when you take an alternate universe, like an alternate history kind of thing, I always love those worlds, but I always wonder, like, did you take a lot of time to change the lore of these characters, or you go with like a standard version of most of these creatures?
What I wanted to do was give people something they know and present it in a different way. So I didn't want to change how vampires work necessarily. Yeah, there's some rules that give and take, like the siring rule, for example, where like I can control you because I made you. That is give and take, and depending what story you read. So that is one we don't use. But the whole holy water, fire, silver bullets on werewolves. So like all that stuff,
all the standard
thing. Yeah, so all the stick, because I didn't want to reinvent anything. I wanted people to get into it as quickly as possible. So I wanted to present them with things they know, but just in a different way. So because it's a dark comedy, and it's a very character driven story, and the way everybody's very nonchalant about what happens is it that's the different take on it. So and if you know if anybody wants to read it, there's book one is free on Global Comics. You can just read it there. It'll be free forever. The digital comic there is always free.
Smart plug. Smart plug. Uh, in line with what we were just talking about, is this world? It seems like this world isn't new. The supernatural. This has been like baked in. This has been part of the world for a long time. It's the way the world's always been.
Yeah. So it's I set the rules for the world. I made backgrounds for the characters, and then I let them loose in this like sandbox of a situation, and I write what I see happening in my mind. So I don't necessarily know every little step that's going to happen. I know the main beats that they're going to take to get to the. I know the main beats are going to happen, but I don't know every step that they're going to take to get there. So once I define all the characters, then I can just kind of let them play and have fun with them. And how does one person respond to another player to another person's comment based on the fact that he's an idiot and she's a hard ass? So like, how does that go play back and forth?
So big on dialogue. Because anything I write, I tend to get lost in the quagmire of dialogue. But it's very important to you, I'm guessing, is because since the story isn't really plot based, it's more character based.
Yeah, it's a very character driven story, and there the dialogue I try to keep it light, so I don't try to I don't have any characters that are like exposition machines, so I don't want to necessarily explain everything and kind of take. I don't want to. I I understand that people who read these comics, they're intelligent people, so they're going to be able to follow along with what's going on. I don't, but I also don't overcomplicate anything. So when it's kind of like overhearing a conversation at a diner, and you can kind of put you like you've never met these people, you don't know their situation, but from what you're overhearing, you can piece together what's going on, and that's kind of how I write. I know that because we're in the same world. I know you know what's going on, so I'm just going to talk to you. I'm not going to have to explain everything to you. And the one time I actually do an explanation thing, it's as it's a bit of the it's a bit to get to know Jack because he actually explains something that the reader already knows. Because in book two, he explains to his friend Tim what happens in book one, but he does it in a way where he looks like the hero. So it's like basically like he altered the reality where his girlfriend was like wooing over his whatever he's done, which she wasn't. So and like he stood up to these vampires, they came at him, which he didn't. So his
unreliable narrator.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing. I think I have a caption on there, and it says from Jill, which is his girlfriend, and the little yellow box that says it's like a note to the reader that this story is being told or narrated by an idiot. So that was it's like a little tagline there. So and so everything's drawn a little differently. Like when you read about Jill in the first comic book, she's all like she's like mean and focused, and she's just like irritated with even being with this guy. It's like this relationship isn't going well. And then when he tells the story, you see it in book two, and it's like just a 2-panel spread, or 2-page spread. She's got like hearts in her eyes, and she's like, "Oh my god, Jack, you're amazing!" Like that's how he's telling the story. So that's the only time I really do anything like over explain anything, and it's just because it's part of the joke.
Yeah, it is the joke. If you don't spend the time on it, be kind of beating the dead horse, by the time you get to the point where it's glue, that's where it's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, and I try to keep I try to keep all the dialogue between characters snappy, so it's like easy to read. I want it to be like quick read. I don't want people to get bogged down by just too much text, but the action does pick up in books 3 and 4. So 1 and 2 is a lot of chit chat. 3 and 4, there's a lot more action,
well,
especially in book 4.
You gotta set the table before you can eat the meal. So
Yeah.
I mean, some people like to just jump headfirst in the buffet with these stories and then fill out the back end, but I do kind of like a slow opening to these stories to get a little getting to know you time.
It cranks up the dilemma that Jack's in, because at first, yeah, he's turned to a vampire. The problems are are like technically they're serious, but it's being a dark comedy in a world where vampires exist. He got turned into a vampire. He knows, he's just got to deal with these new rules. So it's taken as just an annoyance, like, oh my god, now I'm a vampire and I got to deal with this. And then it gets very serious. So books 1 and 2 establish Jack's situation, and in books 3 and 4, it lays the groundwork for the bigger story. And also, when I write about each character, I try to um, kind of bring the reader along with it. So when you're reading the Jack stuff, it very much seems like you're living in his world and everything's kind of goofy, nothing's serious. And then when you get into the mob guy's world, everything's very tense and very serious. Like they're very intense people. So I try to um, make it feel very different. I don't want it just being like the same voice coming out of different characters. So I want the way they talk to have like more gravitas and be very serious. And these guys are more just aloof, making like just quoting fucking Star Wars. Not that they do, but like just I want it to be more like just regular guy talk between them and very serious mob business with the other guys. And I try very hard to make them seem like very different characters just through the dialogue.
Given the juxtaposition between those two tones, you have to find the right artist who could frame those scenes properly. Have you guys worked together for a while?
No, Marco, I met Marco just like I met him just working on book 1.
Yeah.
So that was me just going out looking for an artist. And as a writer, looking for an artist, it's difficult to try to find somebody you trust. It's expensive when you do. So yeah, I found Marco and it worked out because I was looking for a specific style because I wrote the script over 12 years ago. And I kind of put it on hold for a bit, even though it was like the story was mostly written at that point. And I put it on hold and I decided to bring it back up, dig it back out like 2-3 years ago and work on it again. So that's when I started scouring the planet for the right artist. And I wanted somebody that had a kind of a Humberto Ramos style to him, kind of exaggerated, the big hands, and somebody who's not afraid to really push the envelope as far as like character reactions and facial expressions, because I thought that fit this story. So, and when I found Marco, was like I turned away tons of artists that I found on Twitter because all their styles were very anime, which is fine if you read manga or if it matches the tone of your story, but that doesn't match the tone of my story. So I was like, it was one of those like, it's not you, it's me. You know what I mean? Like it's not your artwork is great, but that whole manga style doesn't match my story. So when I found Marco, I was very, very happy. And he's getting better. Like if you see books 1, but the art in book 2 is better than 1, and 3 is better than 2, and 4 is better than 3. Like he's getting more comfortable with the characters. And I even think that shows in the cover work. Like the cover work for book 4 for the standard cover is mint. I love Marco's standard book cover.
Yeah, that's a very interesting distinction to say he's got a very Humberto Ramos type style, but isn't overly anime or manga. Because he's definitely like coming in when I first started seeing his work on like DV8, he was really manga. But then he's kind of found his own thing where you can still see those influences, but it's not over the top Japanese style. It's very we're going very inside comics here, folks. Talking about one specific artist style versus an entire genre. Yeah, so if you don't know what we're talking about, that's what Google's for.
that other series he did, was it Out There?
He did Out There, Crimson, Out There and Crimson.
Oh, yeah, Crimson. Yeah, and that's when his style starts tightening up, right? Like it wasn't that, because if you look back at DV8 when it first came out, you look at it, you're like, wow, this is amazing. I love this guy. And then you look back at it, it was like it's kind of janky compared to
very loose. It's very loose. If you have an
loose
artist's eye, I was a teenager when that came out, and I wasn't that great. But even I'm seeing like, oh, he's got a lot to do. He's got a whole lot to do. By the time he comes around to, I think, Spectacular Spider-Man, we really see like the Venom storyline he did, where he was able to do such interesting things with an amorphous character like that. You're like, all right, he's got it. He knows what he's doing.
Yep. So he's like nailed it. Actually, fun fact, I did reach out to Ramos. Surprisingly, he did not respond.
He's a busy man.
But I was like, hey, I was gonna take a shot in the dark because I were talking to my wife. She's like, what kind of art are you looking for? And I was trying to explain it, and I was like, she doesn't know who Roberto Ramos is. So I like downloaded some images of like this. This is the guy I'm looking for. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna message. I'm just gonna send a message out to Roberto, and then see it. Just sit it out there, and maybe I got him on a good day. And he's like, you know what? I want to make a lot less money today,
Yeah.
and I want to work on an indie book, and maybe I got him on the right day, but.
Maybe you
So
get him
that,
on
that
a
didn't
day
happen.
he's willing to give you a cover. At the very least, getting a cover from a guy like
Yeah,
that
that would be awesome.
changes the dynamic of the entire the entire project.
Yep, that
Uh,
would be fantastic. I also reached out to him again. I was like, maybe just to poke him again and be like, just a cover? How much is a cover? Like how much? And
we can talk about this. Just one day of your life. Just one real splashy image, bro. That's all I need.
yeah, mind
Uh,
you, I think it was him that he did one cover. I'm pretty sure it was Ramos that did a cover I did not like. Was for, I think it was Spider Island, where's Mary Jane in the web, and
mm.
she's like, but her eyes wonky. It looked like it was coming out the center of her head the way it was. Something about that cover. I just remember looking at it and being like, this looks weird.
How'd you let that thing through? Like this was your choice for it. All right, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
Joe, Joe, you got something you want to ask?
So I'm looking over your extremely fun Kickstarter.
thanks.
That is a great video, by the way.
Oh, you watched the video? Okay.
Yeah, that's a great intro video. Could you tell us more about your also congratulations on surpassing your goal
Oh, thank you.
on there.
Oh, hey, Joe, we gotta tell him he needs people to go to it.
Yes, but yeah, well, keep
I do because
keep pledging.
that barely covers the printing.
Oh, could you tell everybody out there about your rewards? Because you're going through your variant covers and they're fantastic.
So, yeah, okay. So I'll give you the high level pitch of each, and then we can break down any of those you want. So, first, you got your standard covers, and those are covers drawn by Marco Leona. That's the artist who does the inside work. Those are the standard covers. Next, you go one tier up and you got a limited run of elite covers, and those are drawn by guest artists that I reach out to do just a cover. So this one was John Little did the yellow cover that you see there, and he's was nominated for Doug Wright Award, which is a big award in Canada here, but it's for like animation and character work and etc. So I got him to do that cover, and that was a lot of fun. And then the pink bunny cover I actually did myself. It was I had planned to have a guest artist come do that, but that fell through. So I ended up doing that one myself. And I wanted to do something that was a kind of shout out to the Blood Bunny Colony, which we'll talk about later. And the next tier up is the obligatory sex pot edition. And that is playing with the idea that if you want to have a successful Kickstarter on comic book, you need a sexy cover. So I just put a sexy cover that kind of plays with the idea, and I put a badge on it that says obligatory sex pot edition, and I just had fun with it. So those are like sexified scenes that do happen in the book, but they're all like just uberly sexified. Like actually the fighting sex pot edition, where it's all the girls just scrapping on the cover. That's just the female version of the standard cover where all the guys are fighting on the cover. So I thought it would be funny to get a sexy version where I was like, if all the guys are fighting in the scene, what are all the girls doing? I know, let's do another cover by another artist. Larry Twasson did those two covers. And I was like, let's have them scrap it out. I think it'd be kind of fun to do. So those are the three tiers. And then, I also have the catch-up packages. So or the catch-up tiers, where if you've missed the first Kickstarter, which was earlier this year for books 1 and 2, you can get books 1, 2, 3, and 4 in whatever like standard cover elite or obligatory sex pot editions. And you get them at a discount. So you get like $5 off. And keep in mind, all the prices on the site are Canadian. So they say CAD, because like it says $80 all in for the Canadian one, where you get like all 6 variant covers and the digital for all of them. It says $80 Canadian, but it's like $59 American. So quite a chain, quite a difference.
What a deal!
Yeah. So and then as far as add-ons go, there's the ones that stand out are actually there's really one standout one, which is the Blood Bunny keychain. And that's well, it's a bunny keychain. And if you get the keychain, then you're you're inaugurated into the Blood Bunny colony, which is this membership that if you get the keychain, you're in this membership, and then for every so-called living Kickstarter that comes out after, you get a benefit of some sort for that Kickstarter. So people who back the first book and picked up the keychain, their email was added to a list. So when they came back, they're either going to get a free upgrade to from the standard edition to the elite edition, or from the elite edition to the Sexbot edition, or if they don't want the upgrade, they can get a free limited edition print and sticker set. So it's completely up to them, and that's only available to people who got the keychain. So whoever gets this keychain will get the benefits from the next. We'll have an option of benefits in the next Kickstarter.
That's a heap and helping of options right there.
It is.
So yeah. And I try to keep the page as clean and as easy to follow as possible.
Yeah, because with that many possibilities, you could get bungled pretty quick. We know you worked in the video game industry for a while,
Still do.
quite a while, it would say, as your bio says. So, what's your perspective on the way the industry is these days?
On the video game industry?
Yeah,
well, everybody's getting fired.
that part, yeah.
so that sucks. It sucks if it sucks for people working. It's great for studios who are looking to pick up some artists and programmers because they're everywhere. And I have a lot of friends that are being affected by this because I've been in the industry for like 25 years, so I know a lot of people there. Now, as far as like what's going on the day to day, I left the studio environment when my son was born 3 years ago. And that was to start this book and to just be home more and kind of, I needed a change. I was like, I got a son, time to make a big move. So I left the studio environment, but I still do contract work. So I still am a contracted creative director, but I work by myself in here in this like little space. So I'm kind of miss out on like the everyday day-to-day stories of like this and that and any turmoil that's going on unless I read up on like Kotaku what's going on. But I've been so busy, and I tried not to kind of dwell in the drama of the video game industry. But you know, it's always going to be there. It's been the same for a bit. It's getting really big. Everybody's all like, it was a while ago where all the big guys were buying all the little guys. So I mean, new studio that opens up, they just want to get swallowed up by a big guy because the owners want a payday. That's how it works.
Well, the term embracer group is one of the scariest things I ever heard. You start to find out what's in their portfolio. It's no wonder the industry is the way it is.
Yep.
Between them
and there's crazy like deals that are like having shockwaves through like the industry of like guys trying to impress somebody with a lot of money, and so they build up this giant company, and the person's like, I'll pass, I'm not going to buy your company. So I was like, well, I guess I got to fire all these people.
Oh, must be time to downsize. I can't make the bills.
Yeah. So
what are you playing currently? I guess the question would have to be Xbox, Sony, or Nintendo, or PC. I always forget.
There you go. PC is our friend.
Yeah. So I used to be a big console guy, but since I started my YouTube channel, I've really had barely any time to play anything. So I've switched over to Steam Deck because in my Steam Deck, I can just play in bed or in the car because we're in the car and my wife likes to drive. So I'll just sit there. Works out for me. So I'll play my Steam Deck. And like I just finished Metro Exodus. And then from that, I like knocked out the Untitled Goose Game. I'm just going through my old games in my Steam library that I was like, I really want to try this. So I got that out of the way. And now I'm playing Cyberpunk.
Okay.
But I gotta tell you, Cyberpunk on the Steam Deck is difficult. Is a lot of small text.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at some menus that I'm so overwhelmed because the letters are so small. Like I could play it on my PC. I could just turn it on and just like pick up my Xbox remote and start playing. But I never do because if I'm sitting here, I'm working. So it's like I only get up by the end of the day. So after we finish talking, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go to bed. I'll open up my Steam Deck and start playing, unless my wife wants to watch the season 3 of The Bear.
I love The Bear.
Well, it's greit's great. It's episode 2, season 3, I think is what we're on right now. So
I
fantastic.
just wrapped season 3.
Yeah, I'm at season 3. So I'm on season 3, episode 2, I believe is where I'm at. So
My wife and I just watched the finale of season 3.
oh, it was good. It was good.
Good. Yeah. It's not my favorite season, but
Okay.
it finishes strong.
All right.
Leaves
Is there
you
going to be
on-
season 4?
Yeah, they filmed
Okay.
3 and 4 back to back.
Oh, nice.
They leave you on one hell of a fucking cliffhanger, though.
Oh, my wife's going to hate that.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially since we just started watching it recently, like in bed. So we just like binged through season 1 and season 2. We did that in like 3 days.
Yeah.
So yeah. So she's gonna hate not being able and having to wait.
Mm-hmm.
She's not gonna like it.
Yeah, that's the worst part about starting a series deep into it. You get all this at once and then are forced to go back into like the 2000s when we had to have commercials. We had to wait for things on a weekly basis.
Yeah, no.
Binging has screwed us up. Unfortunately, we don't exactly have a metric fuck ton of time. We're going to have to call the game right now. We're going to get all the socials out to make sure everyone who's listening is following you and is up to date with the Kickstarter.
All right. So you can do this? Go ahead.
Joe, do you have all the socials?
Ooh, you are all over the Googles, just to let you know. Let's see. You are on. Oh crap! Hold on. There we go. Your YouTube channel, Board Game Coffee. We got you on the Instagrams. You got you on the Kickstarters, the X. You're everywhere.
Twitter. We don't
Twitter.
go.
Threads.
Never
You're
gonna
on
drink.
Threads.
What is the actual socials there, Joe?
You got Board Game Coffee.
Just Board Game Coffee. That's the word everyone needs to look up.
Well,
Board Game
You
Coffee.
could also Board Game Coffee or So Called Living. So
Okay.
I have them for both. I don't have a YouTube channel for both, but I do have socials for both. So I'm mostly on Instagram than anything. So that's the easiest one for me to work in right now. So So Called Living on Instagram and Board Game Coffee on YouTube and Instagram. But then I have all the other ones, but I'm not on them as much.
I understand that. Who's got the time or the mental capacity to do that shit anymore?
Yeah, running a Kickstarter is hard enough.
I run all of ours, and I barely fucking use it.
Yep. It's a chore, man. It's to come up with content all the time and do it. So I was like, I can't do it. Like I had a goal with my YouTube, with my Board Game Coffee one. I was like, I want to break 10,000. And then I did. And then after that, I lost steam. I was like, I was like,
I got shows to plan. We're writing things. We have shorts to film. I can't sit here and do this. It's driving me insane.
That's why I edit.
Every once in a while, I throw a tweet like, "Yeah, this thing," or "Oh, this sounds cool."
It's great that you guys have like a team to put this together because like I write my scripts, I record my own things, and then I edit my own stuff and put it out. I have to do my own socials. Like it's so much work.
At least you don't have anyone to argue with.
No, that's true. It's true. I don't have anything to argue with.
We're family though, so it's
It's work.
That's great. My family doesn't even want to talk to me during a Kickstarter because they'll feel to be guilted into backing me. They're not comic book people. They don't even understand Kickstarter. Half of them don't even use the internet.
We feel you there.
So they want nothing to do with me. They have no idea what my YouTube channel is about. Like I have almost 17,000 subs on my YouTube channel, and I don't think any of them are members of my family. So,
That's
like they don't give two shits. Because they're all just old school Europeans. They don't care about comic books and board games and video games. They don't
yeah,
care
they had
at
to
all.
work for a living, damn it.
Yeah,
I want to say thank you for your time, Mark. We want everyone to check out So Called Living, check out the Kickstarter. Just because you met the goal doesn't mean it's over, folks. You can always sell more. Remember that.
Yep. And it's the best way to get them right now.
Yeah. If you've ever been to a
the only
convention,
way.
remember, always sell more. So we will all wave, even though, that's right, we're on video. We'll wave goodbye, say goodbye. And in the standard Nerdaties fashion, we didn't tell you about this one. My brother used to say stupid stuff all the time, and one of them was fuck bye. That actually came out of his mouth. So we adopted it, and then we signed off by saying fuck bye.
Fuck bye.
Oh, fuck bye, guys.
Hey.